no other than Mr. Lyubim Kogan. Welcome, Mr. Lyubim on Abstract Essay. And can you please introduce more about yourself that I miss? Mr. Lyubim?
Yes, Daniel, I lost you for 1 second.
My apologies. So can you please introduce...
I can hear you now. Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay. Can you please introduce more about yourself that I miss?
My name is Lyubim. I am, as you mentioned, Daniel, I'm a first-generation immigrant. I immigrated to the United States back in '92 from Ukraine, which became independent 1 year before. So 1991, former Soviet Union broke up. Ukraine became an independent country, and the following year I went to the States. You made a nice introduction, so I will not, repeat a lot of it, but I had a lot of dreams, and I found that the United States was the perfect place for me to go after whatever I wanted to accomplish. And after 20 years of working really hard, in 2015, I found myself back in Ukraine as an American. And I had to make a choice. I was in a position to help a lot of people. The country was at war. That started with annexation of Crimea in 2014. So it was total chaos economically. Personally, people felt really down and there was not much hope. But when I came in and I started doing work the way I do work, people just started following me. I didn't wait for anybody. I just started organizing teams, finding people who really were passionate about their work, and we all worked for no paycheck because tomorrow's survival was the goal. So from that, I founded Wings for Heroes. Actually, after 6 years, I turned the company profitable. They were able to write off a lot of debt, and the business was doing really well. And in April of 2024, we had 9 Russian drones that came in and destroyed our key asset. We had 1.3 million liters of diesel that burned up overnight, and we lost all the infrastructure. We had an oil base, we had the railroad, and we had all our tanker trucks. They all burned out overnight. And I had a decision to make, either to rebuild the business again or really do something that I was meant to do on this planet. And that's what Wings for Heroes is all about. What I do is I bring amputees and deaf veterans that just came back from combat zones and suffered unimaginable losses. And I try to bring them back to life, not just physically, but also emotionally and spiritually, by organizing retreats, physical therapy, and most important, we have a community. I have a lot of wonderful volunteers here in Turkey, and we have a community that supports them and shows them that they are really loved and they're really appreciated for what they have sacrificed.
And Mr. Lyubim, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. Thank you. And today, let's talk about how to lead when there's no system, no money, and no applause. So tell us, when there is no external system to guide you and applause to validate you, what becomes your true north? How do you cultivate the internal compass?
I think we all have the internal compass. And when you are in a situation, I hope you are never in a situation like I was, but if you are in a tough situation, and I'm sure that all of your listeners are going through tough situations, if you're running a business or you need to change something in your life, you got to figure out what is the most significant thing that you can change today. And I say that in order for anybody to reach any goals, it doesn't matter what it is, you have to do 2 things. Number one, you have to make the decision that I'm going to do whatever it takes to achieve whatever goal that is. And then you have to take next best available step. So if we're talking about the situation that I looked at the company, and we were a nationwide infrastructure company. We had 92 gas stations, and I just started looking at the numbers and finding what the most profitable parts of the business, and I started putting 100% of attention at the most profitable parts of the business, and at the same time finding people who can do the job. Then I taught them how they have to do their work, what it means to finish things at a certain deadline, and I also taught them what to do if they're stuck. And it's one of the important things. If you have employees, a lot of times people, if they don't have directions, they come to a dead end and they just sit and wait. And when the time is of an essence, when you are operating in crisis, whether it's personal or whatever it may be, you have to get everybody on the same page. And in my situation, I was running, and I was actually not just running by working, but I was running everywhere. I didn't walk. I spent 3 4 years just running between places because I didn't really have time. So you get all your team and you get people on the same page. And one thing that you do is you have to stop all the finger pointing and all the bickering and all the fighting, and make people feel like they're part of the team, that everybody is working as a team. So to give you an example, when they came in the company, we had some gas stations that were running out of fuel. And for gas station, it's the most difficult thing. If you run out of fuel, to bring the new one in and restart the gas station, it takes exponentially more than just keep it running. So I said, if anybody here wants to argue, if you want to point fingers and blame somebody else, then this is not a place for you. And I basically found people within the company that knew the company, number one. Number two, they were the best at doing their job. And number three, they could take directions and just go do their work. So there was no favorites, there was no preferential treatment. Everybody, starting with the boss. You have to lead by example, because when people see that the boss is working day and night, Saturdays, Sundays, it doesn't matter, then they will follow you. And I would show up at the gas station. If the bathroom wasn't clean, I would take a mop and start mopping the floors and the toilets. And you need to do it only one time, because never in their life, not they did not see that, they could not imagine that somebody who comes from the United States, takes over a company, has more than 2,000 employees, can actually get a mop and show, look, this is what clean looks like. And when you are showing people that you are working, then they will follow you. And again, the most important thing, that everybody has to be on the same page, because if you have one bad seed, it could ruin the whole, it can ruin everything. And I was lucky that I was able to push people out that wanted to promote themselves like it was in the past. The company was doing really well. But during war, the situation is really different. Nobody is doing well. And really, our goal was to keep running tomorrow, tomorrow, tomorrow. And that one step is the most important thing after making a decision. I think that a lot of people know what they have to do, but a lot of times we really don't want to do that important thing. So I'd say, if you don't know what to do, just look at things that you do not want to do and see if one of those things will actually get you closer to your goal. And if you see you find that exactly, then you just do it. Don't think about it. There's a lot of energy that is being burned by thinking, maybe I will do it, maybe I will not do it. You already made the decision. Now your job is just to keep moving forward. And once you take that first step, you will see the next one. Which brings us to a very important point, that most people get stuck in the planning stage. I've seen so many great business plans that people carry in their mind for like 10, 20, 30 years. And they think they will do it when the time is perfect, when everything aligns, and they will just like flip this magic switch or like push one domino and the rest will fall into place. And unfortunately, the reality is far from that. But if you're concentrating on just one thing that is the most important right now, and you're not thinking about anything else, when you're done, you will see the next available step. And you don't need any systems, you don't need a map, you don't need leadership to tell you, look, this is what you need to do next. You know. And again, most of the time, it is the thing that you want to do the least.
Hmm. Mister, in absence of financial rewards or public recognition, what personally fuels you to keep leading? Is it anger, love, responsibility, or something else entirely?
I think naturally I am hyper responsible. So for me, I have a really enhanced sense of responsibility. But I think it's the challenge. It's the challenge that always keeps me interested in what I'm doing. In other words, if I'm doing, I cannot do something that is boring, mundane, or repetitive. But maybe because I was a professional athlete and maybe that competitive nature comes into play. When I am pushed or I am challenged, I come alive and I get that energy I get a lot of energy from fear. Daniel, like if
Hmm.
I am afraid of something, it's a very good message to Lubim that this is probably something that you need to explore. So, the areas of uncertainty and fear, I found with time that if I act on that energy, it really moves me up really fast. So, it's a lot of different things, but I think it is doing the right thing year after year, day after day, hour after hour, that I think one of my friends calls me an execution machine with the consciousness. I'm really conscious and aware of the consequences of my actions and how I affect other people. Slow thinker, but I'm extremely persistent. So once I make the decision and I start moving, I may be moving really slow from the outside, but I don't take breaks, I don't take pauses. And at some point, I get that momentum. And once I have the momentum and I keep going, it's just, it just, it always produced something amazing. I look back and I'm surprised a lot of times on how I was able to accomplish things. But again, it all comes down to those two things that I shared with you. I decide, and that my decisions are unconditional. I don't have a decision like I will decide and then I will see how things work out. It's like this. I am deciding I'm doing this and I'm just going to plug away one step, one step, one step. I don't overwhelm myself because I've done it before. And I think that when you're thinking about different things, it's really hard to get through difficult times because you don't see the end of that, dark tunnel. It just becomes too much. So one thing, you just do one thing, and I do the next thing, and I do the next thing, and I'll keep doing it until I see the results. And once you see the results, obviously it becomes easier. But the very beginning is the most difficult part, and the faster you get through it, the more you will enjoy your life, your business, your relationship, your teams, your people, whatever you're doing.
Yes, people, baby steps. Baby steps. And Mr. Lubim, in this context, you can pretend you have all these answers. How have you leveraged vulnerability and admitted ignorance to build trust and collective intelligence?
I am the first one. I tell everybody that I'm not the sharpest tool in the box and I don't have all the answers. And I actually teach people that they can make mistakes. On my team, there is no punishment for making mistakes, but the punishment for hiding a mistake is a termination. So I am as vulnerable as I can be. I don't hide it because I don't want people on my team to hide it. Because if people start hiding things, then you don't see the clear picture. It's really interesting that you asked that question, but I have no issues with showing my vulnerability. I have no issues with showing my weakness because I want people to see, look, I am not good at this thing. Just know that this is something that I cannot do. And I expect other people to step in and do it. And I also understand that not everyone is able to do everything, and people are vulnerable in certain areas. And if I see sensitive issues, sensitive parts of a personality, I will consciously or intentionally, I will not never go there and hurt another person. Because sometimes you can do something, it may seem a little small, and you can lose an amazing team member, or you can break an important relationship, friendship. A lot of marriages break for that. And in terms of vulnerability and being an open book, I think it's a really important thing. I think leaders who distance themselves, either physically by being in the big office away from everybody, or by pretending, being like, look, I'm a tough guy, I'm the big boss, and holding that persona, that's not strength. I think it's more of it's a protection mechanism. And I really, I've made a lot of mistakes and I paid for it. And I share with everyone who works for me. I just tell them, look, this is what I did. This is how it didn't work out. And I learned. And I want them to come to me if they're stuck. If you have team members, one of the most important qualities that you can cultivate within the team is to have your people around to you when they hit a dead end. Not like try to figure it out, postpone it for a day or a week or a month. I don't know what your situation is. In our case, it was hours because we're really counting everything by hours. And as I mentioned, our goal was to survive tomorrow. And it's not a normal situation to operate a nationwide infrastructure company when there's a war going on around you. And by having open door policy, by going and seeing all the employees, from top management to cleaning crew, that's how I was able to survive through that time and actually, turn something that had no chance of surviving into a really amazing and profitable company.
Interesting, Mr. Lubim. And what are your short-term and long-term goals?
I have one goal, which is short term. I would like to bring 4 veterans and their families for Christmas here in Turkey so they can spend 2 weeks on a peaceful beach. It will still be warm. There is no winter here because we're on the Mediterranean coast. So the short-term goal, I would love to see 4 families here for 2 weeks in December. And the long-term goal is to have a place. Well, I created a place where veterans can come and just feel at home, and feel needed and loved and taken care of. I have a 24-hour concierge service that is run by volunteers. So when we have veterans here, if they want to watch a sunset, there is somebody is with them. And if they want to see the moonrise, they will see that. And in case they want to stay all night, there will be guys staying with them. And if they need anything, they just one message away. I create groups and they just drop a message into a group, and one of the volunteers, they get it done. So um, right now, the way I ran the program, I would rent first trials were hotels, which is the most expensive. But then I
Mhm.
started renting apartments for a month and bringing, if somebody, we had a veteran who rehabbed here for 1 month. And the goal is to have a permanent place where they can come. And if they need to rehab for 2, 3, 4 months, they can stay here as long as possible. And the first 2 years, I did the work by myself, and I'm still doing it. I don't have any staff, paid staff. I don't have any sponsors. It was self-funded for the first 2 years. And I run the leanest rehab program on the planet. It cost me 4,000 US dollars to rehab a veteran, 12 physical therapy sessions, swimming sessions with the Olympic coach, cycling coach. We have a 2 times Olympian. And like I mentioned, the amazing volunteers, and it all costs $4,000. So what I was able to do by doing the work by myself and not hiring people is to actually accomplish results that are better than charities that have hundreds of millions of dollars in the bank. And oh, by the way, I don't think having any money in the bank when you have people who need help is the way to go. So as soon as we raise funds, we'll add more veterans, and it will all be spent. This is not a charity industrial complex that it extracts money from people who are good-hearted people who want to help people who suffered. This is grassroots. It's a mission. This is something that I will leave behind when I'm gone. This is my legacy project. And I chose that over rebuilding the business again after we got hit last April by the Russian drones. And yeah, long-term goals to have a place where they can come and stay as long as they need to, and rehab, because they need a lot of help, and they need a lot of time, and somebody who can provide a place for them where they can get what they need on the road to recovery and the road back to life. That picture that you have right there, that's our number one. He is traveling independently right now. He went from being suicidal to becoming captain of his soccer team. He is a captain of his soccer team. And I talked to him a few days ago, and he said, "I'm sorry, I cannot talk to you for a long time because I have not been home." He was here rehabbing for 1 month in May and June. And he's busy. His quality of life is amazing. And it works. So the long-term goal is to be bigger, to have more veterans to come here and get what they need on their way to recovery.
And good luck to your goals, Mr. Lubin. I'm looking forward for more success. And what would be your piece of advice
Thank you,
for those?
Daniel. That's really nice.
Yes, and what will be your piece of advice for those people out there who want to be like you?
um, Look, we all have goals, and if you want to be like me in the sense that don't wait to go after your goals, because if you think about the fact that even if you live till 100 years old, it's not that much time. It will go by really fast. So if you're dreaming about something, if there is something in your heart or in your soul that wants to come out, this is very likely that that's what you came on this planet to do. The work that you will do is unique. Nobody else can do it. I cannot do it. Everyone who you know cannot do it. It is only you are the one who can get it done. And the faster you make that unconditional decision, the better your life would be. So if you want to reach your goals, just don't spend too much time in the decision making process. Watch this video, say, this is what I had on my mind and in my heart for a long time. And right now, I am going to decide that no matter what, I'm going to go after it. And I'm just going to take one step after another one. And I'm going to keep going until A, I am dead, I cannot move anymore, or two, I get to my goals and I see the dream that I had in my mind or in my heart, I see it working, I see it around me. So my advice would be don't get stuck in the decision making process because it burns a lot of energy. And that same energy you can be using taking those baby steps or monster steps or whatever they may be. Sometimes it's just getting out of bed is all you can do. And all you can do is enough. Just do that, and then you'll know what the next thing is. So don't wait, decide right now.
Yes. Right now, and stop procrastinating. Share your talents to the world, just like Mr. Lubin did. And can you please recommend a book or books that influence your journey?
Uh, Look, I've read a lot. I used to read all the time. I think I got to the point where I read everyone. And I think it depends on what stage in your life you are and what interests you have. You just find, I'll say this, Daniel. I don't know the book that you need to read, but the book that you need to read, it may have already found you. It may have been on your bookshelf for a long time. Just go and pull out one of the books that you didn't read, or just go and start looking at the books that are older, not the ones that are written right now, but older and have, like historically stood time. Stephen Covey or Napoleon Hill, not Think and Grow Rich, but he has a lot of other work that he put together. And yeah, I think for me personally, I had a book on my desk for 20 years, and then I started reading it, and I was like, wow, really? Why did I wait so long? So I'd say that book will find you, and read all the time. If you're starting your business and if the things are not working, somebody else has gone through that and they've put that in writing, and that help is out there. So whatever your difficulty is, just go into that topic and just start looking for one. I don't know if your experience is the same, but sometimes you pick up a book and like, no, this is not it. And sometimes you just see one book out of 20 and you just grab it, and it's the one that has the answer. And sometimes you can even open the page and read it in the middle and see if it speaks to you. If not, open another one, open another one, open another one. And when you hit that, you see the message, the help that you need, go to the beginning and start reading it really slowly.
Thank you for the recommended book, Mr. Lubin. And before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people, because my abstract essay is already in fifth season, abstract poetry in second season, and my book 101 debut in fifth season too, comedy 101 second season, and my food 101 in fifth season as well, geography 101. Love Letters, Movie 101 Review, and Music 101, our fourth season, and My Baby Podcast, Law 101, and Mental Health 101, and Bible Verses 101, Science 101, and Sex 101 in its second season. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. So, Mr. Lubin, looking back, what did a constraints of no system, no money, or no applause force you to learn or build that become your greatest strength?
I'd say that I am able to do anything that I set my mind to, and that whatever I work on, but it will not be done on my time. Or, in other words, everything that I planned to do in a specific period of time made things more difficult. And once I dropped the time element, I think that was the breakthrough. That I'm doing the best that I can, and I'm not pouring my energy over things that I cannot control, have no influence over. And I think that dropping timelines is a big mental relief, and it's one of the things that will help you get through whatever you're going through. Because if you set a short, some kind of time limit, and you don't get through it in that time period, it becomes challenging.
Mr. Lubim, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. So can you please invite our listeners to support your advocacy, your business, or whatever projects that you're doing right now?
Everything is on wingsforheroes.org. If you brought up the page, I see. If you hit the media button, you'll see the videos that I've put together. As I told you, I run the mission myself. I don't have any employees. I'm really slow behind on putting it together, but it's all on the website. And the way you can support us, two ways. You can buy a t-shirt or you can buy a hoodie, and 100 of those pays for 1 month of rehab for a veteran. Our bank statements are open to all our supporters, so once a quarter we get together and look at where the money went. And this is 100% transparency organization, and it all goes to people who sacrifice so much to keep us safe and enable us to have this conversation.
Yes, people.
wingsforheroes.org.
Yes, let's support Mr. Lyubim Kogan, because if you support him, for sure more and more empowering advocacy like this to come. So, Mr. Lyubim, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you, everyone. Thank you very
More to come,
much.
more to come, people. See you soon.